One rainy evening, while wandering through Montmartre, Elias stumbled upon a small art shop. Its windows glowed warmly against the wet streets, and inside, the smell of oil paint filled the air. The owner, a gray-haired painter named Marcel, welcomed him in. Marcel's studio was cluttered but alive. Paintings leaned against every wall. Landscapes, still lives, portraits. None of them were famous, but they radiated honesty. Marcel noticed the scraps of torn paper Elias carried and asked to see them. Hesitant, Elias handed over his sketches. Marcel studied them quietly, then smiled. "You paint with fear," he said. "You try to mimic others, and in doing so, you lose yourself." Elias frowned. "But my work isn't beautiful. Everyone else paints better than me." Marcel lit his pipe, his eyes kind but steady. "Listen, boy. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Every person carries their own flame. If you spend your life chasing another's light, yours will die out." The words struck Elias deeply. For the first time, someone had pointed out not his lack of skill, but his fear of being different. Marcel encouraged him to paint what he truly felt, not what others expected. From then on, Elias changed. He stopped imitating the styles of his classmates. Instead, he painted his own emotions, the loneliness of rainy nights, the warmth of morning light through a window, the quiet longing he carried inside. His works were imperfect, sometimes clumsy, but they felt alive. He began to rediscover the joy he once knew as a boy by the Rhine. Painting no longer felt like a contest, but like breathing, and slowly, the fear started to loosen its grip. Months later, Elias showed a few paintings at a small exhibition in the Latin Quarter. He expected little. Most visitors hurried past his corner. But one critic stopped before his canvas. A simple scene of an old violin resting by a window at sunset. The brushstrokes were uneven, but the painting glowed with a quiet ache, a yearning for warmth. The critic wrote the next day, "This work is unpolished, but it carries a soul. It speaks in a voice entirely its own." That single review changed everything. Slowly, people began to notice Elias, not for technical mastery, but for the honesty in his art. His paintings were not flawless, but they touched hearts. Some dismissed him, but those who connected with his work loved it deeply. Elias no longer chased perfection. He painted because he wanted to feel, to share, to live. Standing in a modest gallery one evening, watching strangers pause thoughtfully before his canvases, he remembered Marcel's words, "Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Everyone has their own path to shine." And he finally understood. He had never been less than others, only different. And in that difference lay his light. Elias became a painter with a unique voice. He was not the brightest star in Paris, but he no longer needed to be. His art carried his truth, and his truth was enough.